This is going to be part 2 of my 14 days Whole30 experiment. So let's go. Alright, dudes, it is done. Moment of truth. Moment of truth. Quick taste test. Kind of spicy. Not bad. Why'd you bite my feet? Alright, so day 10 update? Yeah, I didn't update the past 1 or 2 days, but man, just a quick update here. So one big thing is, I think on day 8, on the night of day 8, I kind of went off the diet. Well, I didn't exactly go off the diet, but I overindulged in fried pork skin with salsa, right? Because I haven't eaten chips or like junk food really throughout this entire diet, and the other day I found fried pork skin at Walmart. So I don't know, I think like the next day or whatever, I ended up eating I was planning to eat 1 or 2 servings, right, which was like 80 calories per serving, but I ended up eating I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 servings, which, I mean, if you eat chips, it's so easy to just inhale the whole bag. So I ate 4 or 5 servings, and I slept about 7 something, 8 hours that night, which is a lot of sleep. And I woke up kind of like how I used to wake up before the diet. I would be super slow to feel awake. I just wouldn't really want to get out of bed, and it was just a very slow wake up process. Really similar to how I used to wake up. And I'm wow, throughout this entire time doing the Whole30 diet, I did not, I have not struggled that hard throughout the entire diet. So that was the only morning where it was such a struggle for me to, wake up. And nothing really changed except for the fried pork skin. So I'm wow, I guess it's just one more piece of evidence to show that maybe diet or a bad diet really does have a real effect on my energy level. And I paid the price that morning. And I think that was just really interesting because, I was never one to really believe oh, food impacts my energy. At least not to that extent, but it was very apparent to me that morning. And yeah, man. But yeah, I think originally I was gonna do this cleanse for 10 days, but I mean today's already day 10, so I think I'm gonna maybe most likely wrap it up at the end of 2 weeks. So that way I feel like there's a more I'll have a more conclusive feeling and insights into this diet. So I'm gonna do it for 2 weeks, and then I'll be checking back in just to see how the last, these last 4 or 5 days go. So, yeah. All right, bros. Today we're making chicken, shredded chicken, or that's the hope. And I was just gonna do chicken, but I forgot that I had bought all this celery and cilantro and everything. So I just threw it in, and a cup of beef broth. What I'm gonna end up probably doing is after it cooks, I'm just gonna shred the chicken and then like put it back in the liquid so that the flavor actually goes in. So, yep. All right, so today is day 11, and I think at this point I will conclude that being on this diet has definitely supported me in terms of waking up and feeling energetic. So if I were to compare how I feel now, like when I wake up versus how I used to wake up before the diet, is that now when I wake up, it's typically before my alarm. And once I am awake, like once I do wake up, it takes me a very short amount of time for me to feel like alert enough to be like, operational. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but one of the annoying things about this diet, it's like a good and a bad, but uh, typically, like if I wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, I have a hard time falling back asleep, which is annoying sometimes because if my alarm is set for like 8 a.m. and I wake up at 5 a.m., like I don't want to be up at 5 a.m. Yeah, it might be good in terms of like getting the day started early. But sometimes it's like, yo, I don't want to give my body only 5 hours of sleep, right? Because it's like, recovery of the brain and the body. So, and I've also been dieting this whole time on a diet and caloric deficit. So one of the concerns that I had going into this was that, man, I don't know, like, there's a possibility that, eating such clean and whole foods might, make me like eat more calories. Whereas like before the diet, I was utilizing a lot of like low fat stuff, artificial sweetener, and just like low calorie, high volume food. But like, surprisingly, like I've been fine. Like I track my calories and, I have a Fitbit. So, I've been doing fine in terms of being in a deficit, every day. And, I think that was just, one of the, surprise for me because, I don't know, I guess I just had this idea like, oh, if I'm eating like real foods, then that means there's more calories in it. But that wasn't the case. So it happened again. Today is day 13, and it's literally like 6 a.m. right now, and I just got up 2 hours before my alarm. I think this is like the third or fourth time this has happened, where I typically need to like use the restroom in the middle of the night. I do that and then I can't go back to sleep. But today it was different. I just woke up out of nowhere. I was like, man, just kind of laying there for like 5 minutes, and I was really hoping that once I checked my clock that it would be like 7, right? 7:30, but it was like 5:55, and I'm like, damn, a part of me is like, great, right? I feel like fully functional with 2 hours, less sleep than I was anticipating. But so that's like great for like getting the day started early and like productivity, right? I'm all about that. But one of the reasons why I don't necessarily want that all the time is because um, like literally yesterday I just like had a pretty intense like 1 hour workout. So like I know my muscles are gonna be like fairly fatigued, and like you can't get around like recovery from muscle other than like time and food and most importantly sleep. So although this minimal sleep and being fully functional is great for just productivity, it's not the best for my body recovery. So yeah, man. Quick little update, but I think right now I might roll around in bed for a little bit more. Uh, but chances are I won't be able to fall back asleep, so I'm just gonna probably end up getting back up anyway. So yeah. Do do do. Little boy's hiding in there. Am I disturbing you? I'm sorry, I invaded your privacy. Coffee for day 14, aka the last day. This morning I got up at 7, which is an hour earlier than my alarm, which is not bad. Better than the day before, which was 2 hours, 6. Yeah, the alertness is just there. Like, I think at this point, I don't know if it's still like me adjusting to the new found energy or if it's actually just gonna be like the way it is. But um, as far as my experience goes with on this diet, I've woken up before my alarm so many times, and the number of times that I wasn't able to go back to sleep versus being able to was greater. So I think my body will either need to keep adjusting so it's like used to this new energy. So um, I don't know. So it can go back to sleep when I want it to, or if not, then that just means that if I really wanted to, maximize my health or whatever, then I would just need to start going to bed earlier. But what I'm more curious about is since I've been so pretty strict on this diet, I wonder if, say, like, tomorrow, right? So after the 2 week cleanse is over, I just eat like normally how I used to eat and, whatever, maybe purposely eat like pizza or like whatever, and then wait till the next day after to see like how I feel. It's like, does food really have that big of an impact on our well-being and energy? So I think that would be like a little side experiment. And plus, like, this diet has been so restrictive, so I've actually been really craving like normal foods, right? Like I would see, ad for pizza or like burgers or like whatever, and like I wasn't able to eat them. So I think that's one of the problems with diets that are super restrictive, right? Because unless you love those kind of food and like, you're into that like extremely clean eating lifestyle, restrictive diets fail because it's like people are so used to eating like these, whatever, like American food or like Westerner food or whatever, right? So, like people fall off the bandwagon. I don't know. People fall off the train when they restrict themselves to this extent. So, I think that's why probably the best long-term solution would be to have some sort of compromise, right? Like eat healthy for the most part, and like, allow yourself some wiggle room to, eat some, bad foods or whatever. So, yeah. All right. So, end of wrapping up day 14 here, and I didn't even film today other than in the morning, but had a super intense day at work. So, it was pretty stressful, and I was just hungry, like throughout the day. Final thought for the night is I've just been really looking forward to finishing this cleanse because of how restrictive the diet has been. I just really miss all of my old regular food. Even if not like eating it all the time, but because I haven't had it in like, 2 weeks now, I've just been thinking about it and craving it and missing it. So I think the plan for tomorrow is to get a couple of the things that I've been really craving, which is just one pizza and two General Chicken from this place that is pretty bomb. I've been on the search for like the best General Chicken, like, I don't know, for the past like several years now. And, I've tried probably over like 10, 15 places, and this was the only one that was like, okay, like this is it. But anyways, really excited for that. But I told my friend that I was gonna go ham tomorrow, but we'll see. Like, I am still on a diet, so I still want to hit like my weekly caloric, deficit goal, so to speak. So I think tomorrow maybe I will eat. I will eat the food that I've been craving, but I will also do my best to be more active, just like move around more, exercise, cardio, like whatever. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll even check in quickly tomorrow. So, yep, that's it. First meal post cleanse, quote unquote meal. All right, so I have to do this. I'm so happy. I'm crying. I'm crying. Oh yeah. You want some? You want some? You can have some. You can have any. Alright, so that was a wrap to my 2 weeks Whole30 experience. And just in concluding thoughts, I just wanted to go over a couple of pros, a couple of cons, and moving forward, like what the plan is. So the first pro and probably the main benefit for me was that I just had way faster morning alertness after waking up. And that is a big deal because how I used to be back then was it just took me so long, like, 30 to 60 minutes for me to like even start like, just feeling like I'm up to like doing anything. But on this cleanse, it was really just like 5-10 minutes. So on a slower day. So yeah, that's a huge benefit, especially if you don't want to be like, rolling around in bed and scrolling social media just to like start waking up. Number two, I did not feel the need to take a nap during the entire duration of this cleanse. And this was something that I realized like more towards the end of the cleanse. I realized like, oh wow, like I actually didn't like feel any need to nap, whereas back before the cleanse, it was fairly common for me to want to take a nap, in the afternoon. So that's a big benefit for me. Number three, my morning headaches went away. And I don't know if this has something to do with my reduction in overall caffeine consumption, or just my more consistent sleep schedule, or the diet, right? So, maybe it's a combination of everything. But I used to wake up most days out of the week with some sort of headache. And on this cleanse, I did not get that. Maybe like once or twice, really briefly, but yeah, it just wasn't there. So, and number four is that during this cleanse, I have consumed less caffeine throughout the day. And this wasn't like me like trying to purposely like cut down my caffeine or anything like that. It was just literally like I did not feel the same level of desire to consume caffeine like I did, prior to the cleanse. Prior to the cleanse, typically I would just be like, okay, like I'm feeling this like fatigue coming on, or like, oh, I got something like, big to like do, and I would take the caffeine. But on this cleanse, the desire just wasn't the same. Like I was just able to get through the day with maybe on most days 300, maybe 400 milligrams of caffeine on the cleanse. I could probably went like with less if I tried, but I wasn't trying to like alter things too much. And prior to the cleanse, I would be consuming more of like 400 to 500. So not a huge difference, but it was significant enough for me to notice that, I ended up consuming less caffeine. So that's definitely a plus for me. And now on to the cons. I would say the main con for me is that this diet cleanse is just overall too restrictive. And like I keep telling myself and I keep telling, people around me, those who know that I'm doing this cleanse, is that restrictive diets don't work. They can work, but if you are going on a specific like diet to like achieve a certain goal, or even maybe, okay, I don't know, it's arguable, like, but you can argue like, oh yeah, this is like a lifestyle, but unless you're just like super enthusiastic about eating, the cleanest, wholest food, right? I think especially if you are, used to like the American diet, right? You know exactly how much junk, processed food, whatever fatty food, sugary food, salty food there is out there, right? It's like everywhere. You can't go to a place that doesn't have that, right? Basically. That's why this diet is, for me at least, because I am used to eating somewhat close to the typical American diet. Not as bad. Like I'm not chomping on blocks of cheese, right? But to go from an American diet to like, oh man, only eat like whole foods, clean food, like it's a big shift, like no joke. And like if you are doing this cleanse to like, just like whatever, detoxify your body, or if you're trying to do this to, whatever, like weight loss or whatever, it's going to be really hard to maintain it long term, because, like I keep saying, diets that are too restrictive causes people to fail the diet, because all they're thinking about is like the foods that they can't have. And then what ends up happening is that they end up binging. So I think balance here is really key for any successful diet. Yes, you can do like the bro way, like chicken, broccoli, and brown rice, but um, that's not enjoyable. Like, it's just everything you eat is gonna be like you're eating cardboard boxes or whatever. And although that will get you the result, you don't have to put yourself through that much pain and suffering, to get your gains or whatever. So, con number two is that this diet can be expensive. And what I mean by that is if you opt, at least for me, my experience was that, okay, I'm doing this cleanse, so I might as well end up buying like the organic stuff, the free range stuff, and then, like I mentioned before, like the pasture raised eggs, right? Which I think is like the top tier eggs, and they're like $6 a dozen, right? So that shit hurts my heart. It hurts my wallet. But then it's like, oh, I'm doing this cleanse, so might as well get like the top quality stuff, right? So when you start doing that, like it can start getting expensive. But not if you're already eating like all organic everything, right? But for me, I wasn't, so that was kind of a shift for me. But on the counter argument, you can say like, oh, because I am on this like Whole30 diet, therefore I can barely eat anything at restaurants or like takeout. So then you might end up saving some money there, right? Because you're eating out less. So you could counter argue it, but overall, for me at least, like it was more expensive to buy the high quality stuff. And the third con for me is that I personally experience more intestinal slash digestive slash upset stomach issues. This was kind of a surprise for me. Like I tried to pinpoint like what the culprit was, but I just couldn't figure out why. What I've noticed like doing this cleanse is that overall like my stomach had been more upset than it ever like was when I was not on this cleanse. And like, I try to pinpoint it to like, oh, could it be like I'm eating like, I don't know, like carrots or like raw bell peppers, or could it be like garlic, or like could it be I'm allergic to like beef, or all these things, but I wasn't able to pinpoint what caused it. The only thing I could think of like maybe is like, oh, is it because I'm eating a lot more like fiber? But I wouldn't even say that I'm eating like that much fiber. It's like I'm not eating a pound of salad with like every meal, right? I'm just eating like a couple of handful of salad like on every day. But I have been eating more fruit, right? I've been eating more like been eating like an apple a day. I've been eating grapes, right, on top of like salad, and then I've been eating raisins as because I can't have like candy. So I don't know, like maybe it's the extra fiber, but I still feel like it's not that much fiber to the point where it's causing me like upset stomach. So that's definitely something that I've noticed, and something that's a con. And I really wish I know like what caused it, but I just don't know. Moving forward, I did enjoy the benefits that I got from this cleanse. And I think, what I've learned from this cleanse is that I see the benefit, or I see why I would gravitate more towards whole food. Because if I look at how I was eating prior, like, yeah, like I would eat like an okay amount of processed food, right? I would utilize a lot of artificial sweeteners, especially like because I was on, or I am still on a caloric deficit. I guess like the mindset I had was like, oh, okay, well, my goal is to consume as little calories as possible. So like, you know, that's why I started drinking a lot of like diet Coke and 0 calorie sports drinks, because I'm like, okay, these things have 0 calories, so therefore like that means I could eat more like real food, right? But what I found from this diet is that it actually didn't affect my overall caloric intake like much at all. So I'm like, okay, like this could be something viable for weight loss, because that was one of the things I was really worried about, was that I'm like, okay, I'm eating whole foods, so that means I will probably end up eating more calories during the day, but that wasn't the case. So I think like now I definitely will utilize things like coconut water or like apple juice or like kombucha for like drinks, you know, versus just like thinking, oh, okay, I can only drink water or like Diet Coke or 0 calorie drinks. And I used to eat bread like pretty much every day because it was so easy and you could like make sandwiches out of it, French toast, whatever. Being on this cleanse, like I could probably live without bread. Yeah, I mean, bread is processed. I don't know like how good or bad it is for you, but you know, I could live without it. But you know, I think at the end of the day, no matter which, you know, diet I go on or which cleanse I go on, what will work best for me is probably a diet that is balanced in multiple aspects. So a diet that is decently healthy, not too restrictive, and something that will meet my nutritional and caloric needs. So who knows? Maybe a diet like that out there exists. You know, maybe I would imagine it would be something variation of the Whole30. So you know, maybe utilizing a lot of whole food, but like not necessarily being as restrictive. So yeah, that's it. And if you enjoyed following along, please consider subbing to my channel. I've been working hard to bring consistent quality content. So thank you so much.